All right. Truth Talk Nation.
Check. Truth Talk Nation. What's going on, everybody? It's T Mizzle the Great.
Man, we got JUDAHAWOKEACE.
What's going on, Judah, man? Another week, man.
Man, there's a lot of stuff been going down, man, you know.
Oh, yeah, a lot of stuff been going down. Y'all want to say first off, thanks to all the new viewers and subscribers. Thanks for tuning in for this week. We got Aseer coming up, man, so you know it's going to be another big banger, man.
Man, you already know, man. We got Aseer coming up, man. You already see what he's talking about, this King James, you know.
Yeah, he's going to talk about the latest current events that we got going on. King James, he's going to break down that. We're going to discuss the Jay-Z, NFL, you know, tied in with Colin Kaepernick, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to just freelancing, you know, talk about anything else we got going on out here.
Man, that's right, man. So let me give him a call right quick and see if we can connect.
Oh yeah, it's about to go down, y'all. Other than that, you know what I'm saying, it's just been winding down at the end of the summer. Hope everybody had a nice, beautiful summer that's going on. Everybody be safe out there.
Aseer?
Peace.
Oh, how you doing? All right, we got Aseer Duke Cheers on today. How you doing, Aseer?
I'm well, brother. How you doing today?
Man,
Peace to the fam.
Man, good,
what's
man.
up?
It's a lot of stuff that's been going on, man, with the Jay-Z and all that. What you think about the Jay-Z?
Man. I mean, you know more. They just, people are fickle, man. And, you know, if enough people bandwagon the situation, then obviously it's a good situation, right? And that's the problem with mob politics. It's like mob rule is majority rule, you know. So
Right.
there's a rule of thumb that basically says, you know, when a person reveals who they are, you should believe them. And this person revealed exactly what. I mean, me personally, I was never a Jay-Z fan. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up in Brooklyn. Like the Marcy was Marcy, you know. And although I didn't live in Marcy like that, you know, I knew a lot of people that did. And in all my years over there, I ain't never seen that nigga over there. So I don't know, you know what I'm saying, like what that whole narrative that they made for him was. But what it looks like to me is if you are willing to sell drugs to your people and then get to a point where you then basically take the style of everybody that you ever work with, then find a way to get other people who don't have talent to co-sign that, then sell those people out when you get in charge, when you get in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Then take another deal to become a mascot for them to displace hundreds and hundreds of businesses that was all there with that Barclay thing. Then to make yourself, again, the poster boy for so-called backward upward mobility, when really all of your money come from selling liquor. So your whole career you've been selling poison to people, but because you put a nice beat on it, and because you know you got people to co-sign it, and because you can pay people off, you know what I'm saying, you can have a better public image, I guess.
Yeah.
And, me personally, I was never into the Kaepernick thing. To me, he kind of lucked up into the whole situation, it seems. One, everybody forget that he was the dude going out with Tiana Taylor before she blew up, who was also Jay-Z's niece, right? See the connection? Then it came out they wound up breaking up allegedly because he was dating trannies. Remember that? I don't know if y'all remember that. And it came out saying Cap was into the trannies. Then that deaded. Then he got benched, right? And so because they wouldn't let him play, or he didn't play because he was benched or whatever, he started kneeling. You know, when the anthem came on, and that brought him attention. And there was somebody asked. It was like, oh yeah, well, this is for police brutality. And then another dude did it. And then by the time the third game he did it, and somebody else did it with him, then it was like, okay, we got to nip this in the butt. And then it blew up. And then from there, he was able to leverage that into, you know, being Muhammad Ali, running with the children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Running with the children with the dashikis on, and you know what I'm saying? Like taking us back to the Thriller Manila. Then I'm seeing him, you know, Huey P. No, excuse me, Angela Davis with the afro and the Panther jacket, right? Or Marvin Gaye on the cover of What's Going On, right?
You're
then
right.
they remember with the black leather jacket. You see how you see what I'm saying? You see how they like use trigger shit? They did the same thing when they brought D'Angelo out. They put him in the black Marvin Gaye leather jacket, you know what I'm saying, trench or whatever, put him on the cover. And then boom, now, you know what I'm saying? Like they know how to trigger stuff with imagery. And so I was watching them build this guy up. Then I'm looking at him, I'm like, this nigga look like Ethiopian, you know, some type of, you know what I mean? He don't even look like he's from here. You know what I'm saying? Then we find out, you know, he's not. You know what I'm saying? And we find out his mama white. Okay, I see the progression. Just like Jesse Williams' mama white, right? Just like Obama mama white, right? Just like Alicia Keys' mama white, right? Just like what's his name mama white, right? You see? So if you got the black man with the white mama, then you can be the revolutionary. But if you the black man with a black woman, black mama, black father, you got to sell out. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't, like with light skinned people, when they be on TV, they're the ones that can have the big bushy locks and the big afro and all that. When you the dark skinned person, you got to have the clean fade, right? You got to have the clean fade.
Yeah, they change you up. They change the image up.
That's right. So what that is doing, or what that did, was set the precedent for this dude to be something that he wasn't. He was just another marketing ploy against the NFL. So naturally, being that the NFL is run by nothing but white male or good old boy Freemasons, okay, that come from generational families that lucked up into the position to own Asiatics. You see what I'm saying? These niggas is now redoing the same ritual. So on one hand, Cap made them look crazy. But again, he lucked up into that. And then basically went all a mile. But if it was really that, right, then it would have been about him basically opening the doors, not only for the police. It went from police brutality. See, the white man flipped the narrative. So because he wanted to get away from the police brutality, they made it about disrespecting the so-called American flag, which is not even a flag. That's a banner of trade. That's not even the real American flag. The real American flag got 48 stars in a row. You know what I'm saying? That's the historic flag of the so-called United States of America and General Congress Assembly.
Yeah, you're right. They try to make a big deal about the flag, but it wasn't really about, about that.
Nah, it wasn't even that, because the flag that he was protesting against, that's not even a flag. That's a trade banner. If you flying a 51-star flag in your house and you're a proud American, you're not an American. That's a flag for the occupational United States post-military Libra Code government. So everybody flying that flag, you see what I'm saying? You're agreeing to be down with being a corporate hostage. Okay? So that's the flag that allegedly he's protesting, everybody's flying. But again, I'm showing the hypocrisy because it's not even a flag. So he's not even disrespecting what they say he disrespected, because it's not even representing what he allegedly supposed to be disrespecting. You understand what I'm saying? So they flip that, then they move from that narrative to him not having a job. So now it's about getting this nigga a job. Like, okay, so Cap can't work, so we all kneeling now to get Cap a job. Like, what is it? Like, how does the narrative flip? So then they flip that narrative back to the police brutality thing. Then here comes Mr. Carter, you know what I'm saying, coming up talking about, when Travis Scott and them tried to do the show, he called him personally. Nah, I don't do that. We gotta stick together. Jermaine Dupri offered this nigga the same deal before Ho. Ho say, get on the phone with Jermaine and basically blackmailed him or whatever he got to do with him. You know what I'm saying, to shut that down. Just ask yourself, why, as a grown man, would I have to listen and not do something that I want to do just because another grown man tell me? You understand? Like, why, if that's what I want to do, why is it that whenever Jay-Z coming to say to do something, it's a problem? Nobody can do what they want. They got to do what he wants. What that says to me is there must be something with him. So I start researching this nigga, and then find out, okay, back when they made him take the blame for stabbing Un.
I remember that.
Yeah, remember that? They made him take the blame for that.
Over the tape.
It made him take the blame for stabbing Un, and then that's when the crackers used him, or that's when they basically brought him in, and that was his first sit down. So then from that first sit down, he wound up meeting this dude named Perez. And then Perez was like one of his silent peoples that used to deal with him on like how to move shit. You know what I'm saying? This, at least what the research is telling me. And then from there, he wound up going straight corporate with his stuff. So he knew from the time that he signed to get Rockefeller, like to get Rockefeller the distribution deal, he already made the deal that he was going to basically get out of the Rockefeller thing and go straight corporate with Leor and them. He didn't say tell Dame and Biggs that shit. You see what I'm saying? So he, in a sense, let Dame leverage himself to be the problem while he looked like the solution. You see what I'm saying? And then Biggs, who was the silent partner anyway, he was just really in it to do, you know what I'm saying, to get his little thing. But as time progressed, we start to see the business moves this dude made, and they were all basically based on taking what somebody else got, making it look like his, and then re-putting it back out. Ain't that what he did with the S-Dots?
Yep,
I was so heat when that shit came out, because I was really into Gucci's, you know what I'm saying? Like that, the 1984 classic Gucci's, that's like, to me, one of my best sneakers, even though I can't rock them now because of the boycott. But this nigga, instead of making his own sneaker, he just patterned it after that. You know what I'm saying? And then that's what he always do.
Yep, that's Doc Carter's, the Sean Carter's, yeah. Just like the Gucci shoes back in the day.
Hello? Hold on. We probably lost the Aseer. Aseer. You cut off. Hold up. Give me 1 minute. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I said, yeah. He brought him back out, man. Imitated it, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just True Talk Nation, man. You know what I'm saying? We try to bring y'all the real live shit that's going on. This is from the inside scoop, you know. The brother grew up in Marcy, you know. Been around.
I'm sorry, did you hear me? It sounded like the phone went out.
Oh, yeah, the phone went out. Yeah. Now, what you were saying? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great.
Shoes.
So I was saying that he basically built a career off of buddy hustling up to people, finding out what people like about them, then getting them to give him that based on either paying them off, blackmail, leverage. See what I'm saying? Right. And then that became the business acumen that he would use from that on. So it's not like he actually owned Barclays. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that say that that was a good business move is a damn fool. Because I used to live in that area. You know what I'm saying? And they displaced. I know many of the business owners that was displaced from that. And the community don't get no money off of that. The little money that black people get from working that little decks, that ain't nothing. That ain't no money. That's not building a community, because none of that money out of the Barclays Center goes back into Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights, nothing. That money goes out to London or to wherever else he got deals with. He didn't even have, he had barely like a 0.0010% in that. So really they just used him as a mascot, the same way I would use Ronald McDonald or Tessa against him during that time and building that thing, right? And then what happened? They came, brought they faithful nigga out, right? He put his little buck dance on. Then then show you how deep it is. The day that they made the deal, they had a photo op, and Freeway was out there with him. And you could go back and look. There's a scene where he's supposed to be taking the pictures. They're gonna take pictures together. He told Freeway to get out the picture so he could take the picture with the old white people.
Philadelphia Freeway.
But what you seeing in Jay-Z is groomed to be the new Bill Cosby. See what I'm saying?
That's deep.
Who is kind of the new, he's also the new OJ. That's why he made that song, Story of OJ. He's the new Stephen Fetch's. He's Steven in Django. He's the one that's okay with throwing all y'all niggas in the box. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, look good.
Okay with it. But getting back to his friend Perez, his business partner Perez, is married to this chick. They business partners. She just got off because they just found all this cocaine, bricks of cocaine. Like they said, what, over 56 bricks or something like that.
Over Perez? With Perez?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Bricks. I'm talking about major weight, like Mitch, not like Mitch McConnell weight, because Mitch McConnell, that nigga, the one from the Senate, his family been running cocaine on cruise ships or private freighter ships for years. They just busted him a little while ago, his family, and he under secret indictment right now because they've been running cocaine off of their ship, just like the Hiltons, like Paris Hilton and them family.
Yeah.
Hilton hotel niggas. Them niggas, they found over $100 million worth of cocaine in his mansion, in the Hilton mansion in LA. And then they just said, oh, it was the Mexicans. The Mexicans that was cleaning our house. Mexicans that was cleaning our house was using our house to store drugs. And they let it go. No investigation, no nothing. So this thing with Perez was, they found her with all this cocaine. And somehow or another, she ain't do no time for it. Her or the husband ain't do no time for it. Now this is Jay-Z direct business partner. Now, this is direct business partner. She got stake in 4040 Club. They got stake in Rock Nation, but Rock Nation is really under another thing called Live Nation, and Live Nation is a English-based communications company that's made all of its money from that. And they're also silent partners with Barclays of London. Look it up.
Damn.
Wow.
So we're talking about international drug selling. We're talking about international, drug moving, weight moving. We're talking about international copyright infringement. Because the funny thing is, this company is also one of the silent parent company owners of Atlantic Records.
Wow.
And remember, your boy, or your man, Aramias, you know what I'm saying? Bless the dead, wink, wink. This nigga signed a major deal. That all money in shit they talking about. He kept saying all money in, all of that.
Right.
What people should understand is that he was never independent, man. That's a lie. Why are you independent, but then you always doing records with all of these niggas with major deals? Number one. Number two, how are you independent when Atlantic is distributing your stuff? Is that independent? No. So if that's a lie, what else is a lie about this dude?
You're right, man.
You see what I'm saying? So I find it funny that this guy allegedly gets get murked. Now we know that whole case, that whole thing. People still acting like that ain't a hoax. Even if it ain't a hoax, what it says to me is that people are so inundated with fake black culture, they don't understand real so-called black culture. If anybody's still trying to be a Crip and a Blood out there in LA after this situation, you need your head examined. Because what that whole thing was, their narrative was to show you is that there is no loyalty. As much as he did for the so-called community, the community let him get murked. So what that is saying on the subconscious, or what they want that to say, whether it's the Police Benevolent Society, whether it's the whatever op they got running out there, what they want you to take from this is that there is no way out. You can be positive, you could be this, you could be that, you could be the greatest community leader, you could urge niggas to put down drugs and make money, and in the end, your own people is going to be the ones to kill you.
Yep. They'll take you out.
Right?
Yep.
But who was there at the end? Wasn't they supposed to have a meeting with the police, with Rock Nation? How many people know that Rock Nation is in the same building as the police?
What did you say? Okay, hold up, man. Hold up, man.
Yeah, run that back.
Hold on, like you said, man, hit the subscribe and the like button because this is some information right there. Truth Talk Nation. Truth Talk Nation. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button because we got, you know what I'm saying, we got the truth here. We got Aseer the Duke of Tears spitting the truth.
Damn.
Come on, boy, go check it out, boys. Look it up.
So you said he got the Truth Talk.
I mean, there too, but I had known for a while because I was just researching when the whole Nipsey thing went through. I was like, you know, researching, looking at it because I thought it was a hoax from the door. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that people are not saying that he's there. I believe that Nipsey Hussle. Let me put it like this: I believe that Nipsey Hussle is out of here, right? But as far as Eremias or whatever, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This shit look suspect from the door, but that's just me. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to people who, you know, have lost their mind over that, and, you know, crying and all that. Because as it stands, in looking up that stuff, I'm like, but wait a minute, this is Rock Nation. How is this? There's like a bridge that separates it. Kind of like, you have like colleges and they'll have like one building and it'll be like a bridge take you right to the next one.
Right.
Well, this bridge take you right next to the police. You in the police building when you cross this bridge. So to get to the Rockefeller building, to get to the Rockefeller thing, you got to pass. You see what I'm saying? You got to pass the police. Just like when you go to the MTV building in London, you got to go into the Masonic Lodge. That's a Masonic Lodge. The MTV building in London that these niggas go to do their little Tim Westwood and all this other type of shit, that's in a Masonic Lodge. The Jimmy Kimmel Show is taped in a Masonic Lodge. Where his desk and the seat is, that's where the altar would be when it was the lodge. Ooh. Look it up. That's a coincidence. That don't mean nothing. Just like the giant symbol of Nimrod and the gate at the gates of Nineveh, what you call Babylon, is the biggest gates in Universal Studio in Hollywood. When you get up there to Universal, you got to go past the walls of Nimrod to get there. So niggas just think this is just art. Oh, this is just, you know, stuff white people do. No, you are literally in the ritual, nigga. They have put us in it. And people like Gay-Z is one of the guys that's there to facilitate the noose around niggas' neck. He's the one that's there to play the banjo while niggas are getting hung up. You know what I'm saying? Because he ain't never do nothing for anybody. So then niggas say, oh, but he paid for 21 Savage in Atlanta. Right. No, this nigga is a holistic. This nigga come from a good family. His father is one of the only holistic doctors in the world that ain't dead. That they ain't murked. So what does that say?
I'm thinking, Aseer, man, all these niggas is like V. They got masks and shit, man. Remember the movie V?
Yeah, they put transcendent at the end, man.
You know what I'm saying?
They not real. None of these people are real. There's no such person as Jay-Z. There's no such person as Beyonce. These are apparitions that are created. These are golems that are created to get people to give up their own self-respect, their own self-identity, their own self-initiativeness, or if that's a word, their own self-image, to adopt something from something like this, when this guy may or may not even be, well, he's not anything that he said. Anything that he says he is the opposite. And I'm not just him. I'm not just picking on him. I'm saying anyone in that society, anyone in that level of the game that's willing to sit there with the NFL owner as if he's on his level. Do you understand the structure of the deal is when you get an NFL performance, you don't get paid for that. But guess what?
You get the endorsement deals, right?
Yeah, you get the endorsements and shit. You don't get no money for that. But guess what? With this new deal, Jay-Z is the one that picks the talent. So guess who's going to get the check? Him. He's going to get paid for whoever performs. And whoever performs is not. It's incredible. It's incredible that black people think this is progress. They really think that this nigga is a progressive businessman. They thought that Nipsey Hussle was a financial Svengali because he told people what niggas been telling people. Invest in your community. Buy something in your community. True. But guess what? The other side of that is, if you know that you originally from that land, you don't gotta buy nothing. You just gotta press the issue for the fact that the state knows that all of the land is illegally occupied under color of law. And if you are indigenous to the land, you don't have to pay no property tax and all that shit, man. But they're not gonna say that because they want everybody that's so-called melanated and black to follow the 48 rules of power. This is the type of shit more black people they want black people to do. They want you to follow all of this version of how they do business, as if where they do business is the best, as if they even invented it, and they did it. All they did was take our ability to pay our own debts away, and that made everybody in the world subsequently subject under somebody else. So what makes you free in any society is the ability to collapse and do away with whatever financial debt the government arbitrarily puts on you by making you a hostage, aka a citizen. That's the difference between a citizen and a national. A citizen is somebody that's under the occupational colorable law titles of whatever country or administration is acting as the government. A national is somebody who understands that this occupational force is different than the original tenets of what the Republican form of government I'm guaranteed is to be. Therefore, I only need to deal with this occupational force in a limited basis.
Right.
What they have done is taken everybody's ability in the world to negotiate for themselves, and it has put proxies in there for you to basically follow behind. And then through propaganda and agitprop, through Edward Bernays type marketing, mind control you to believe that this is somehow some sort of progress. So I'm not digging up Jay-Z, is real. Both of them niggas is fake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so you can't pick one over the other. I'm not going to pick a Republican or a Democrat. I'm going to say that they're both liars. They're both at stake. They're both culpable in this illusion, because both of these niggas is fighting to be the manager of Slavery Incorporated. So that's not helping me. That's not helping our people. Jay-Z became a multi-billionaire, and I don't even think he's that. That's what they say on paper. But the most of the money that him and Puffy made didn't even come from music. It's from alcohol. So he started selling you drugs. You know what I'm saying? He started off selling you drugs. He made music about selling you drugs. Now he's selling you more drugs in the form of alcohol. And wait, weed. This nigga Jay-Z about to set up a weed dispensary. Who gonna buy Jay-Z weed? Come on, man. As long as I've been smoking herb, I've never listened to rap. I ain't never heard this nigga even mention weed. So now you Cypress Hill nigga? Like, come on, man.
Tapping back into the game, huh?
Come on, bro. Come on, who really gonna smoke Jay-Z herb? Like, how you even gonna market that? How you even gonna market that, boy? Like, come on, man.
I ain't never seen Jay-Z smoking a blunt.
I ain't never seen him talk about it.
See Jay-Z smoking
to cigars. I've seen him do that, but that make more sense to me than this nigga trying to open a dispensary. Jay-Z weed? Come on, man. I ain't smoking that. I am not smoking that. That shit will have you. You know what I'm saying? You know what that shit gonna give you.
Man.
So in with them people. You know what I'm saying? It's all types of formaldehyde and shit in that weed, man.
Wow.
Because he don't smoke. So if he ain't smoking it, I ain't buying it.
No, I'm not buying it, man. Yeah, you can't buy weed from non-smokers.
The only person I think is worse than him, believe it or not, is Nas. Just because Nas was the only one that could have stopped this nigga at the time. And instead, he took the bag, he bent over, you know what I'm saying? And now he's on that level with him. You understand? But in the end, Jay-Z buddy hustled and blackmailed and brokered it to a way where Nas would never perform either again. And this is why he's a bitch ass nigga, because that was the best song he ever made.
Ethan, oh man,
how much he had to get money to not perform his own song? Damn.
Ethan, man.
Well, he signed under Jay. Look at Jay. Jay is sad. He thinking like this. Look, this nigga, I'm mad insecure with this nigga. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get mad cool with him. We gonna get cool. We gonna be buddies and shit. And then if he do it, he gonna feel bad for doing it because we cool now. You see? Then I'm gonna get to a certain level and then really cement it. So this way we bonded on, that brotherly level. You know, that grip up stuff they be doing. And he did it. Didn't Nas become a multi-millionaire right after all of that? Right?
Right.
Then they sicked the tranny Khalees on him and try to destroy it. See what was going to happen with him with that? You know what I'm saying? Like all of this happened, then boom. Then Jay, when they knew DeHaven was about to come out with the next joint, Jay had to start doing damage control. So he had to go to all the niggas that got dirt on him and basically put him out. Why would you give Jazzo a deal after 29 years of blackballing this nigga?
That's what I was wondering, man. Like, I mean, he looking in there like he finally got paid. I understand you was awake. You know what I'm saying? I seen the picture, but it just looked like he just gave up, man. I'm like, damn, Jazzo.
Sad. This man is broken. What you looking at is a broken man.
I seen that picture, man. It looked like the Tupac picture, man. When he looked, it looked like the last Tupac.
The picture that Rick Ross when he was first signing Meek. If you look at the picture of his face when Meek signed, like, damn.
Yeah.
Another one.
Another one.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But so he, Nas now, great. You got your money, you got your thing, you got your multi-million, you investing in tech companies and all of that, but you know what, nigga, you still a bitch ass nigga. Not because you're not a great talent. Yeah, you were. But in the end, I believe all these niggas was made to turn this place, to turn us into goddamn animals. Because none of these niggas ever did anything that I know, that I see in my life, that actually brought some sort of real upward financial mobility to our people. Not one.
Well, I know. Back in the day, I personally used to listen to a lot of Tupac, and he used to talk about a lot of this shit, and then a lot of the commission that they started in the rap, the rap police, way back on the lost tapes. I can't even find these tapes no more.
Yeah, but even him, what I'm trying to say is that everybody that they have ever put in front of us to be something that we supposed to believe in, most likely was an op. Because they're not going to allow anybody of any real substance that is going to give us some sort of empowerment to stay in power. They're not going to do that. Especially when they've created, nice. I like that. This right here? I like that. I like the purple. Can you make it a little darker? It looks like he...
Man, subscribe to the channel.
They created a perpetual hostage situation, and we still think that we have to somehow integrate or absorb ourselves into this burning house, and it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. You understand? And the people that they use, the ringmasters they use for the circus, are all of these fake. Why is it that every real so-called black leader is involved in entertainment somehow? Think about that. Think of how many Caucasian leaders are actual entertainers. Think about how many Asian leaders are so-called entertainers and people follow them as like political pundits and shit like that. Think about that. You can't.
You can't, man.
But
very few.
So why is it that whenever it comes to us and our upper nobility and our so-called representatives, why are these niggas always maybe 5 years or 2 months before they talking to you about political advantages and shit? These niggas was buck dancing and doing videos and, you know what I'm saying? Right. Pouring out on hoes and shit. Like, what's up with that? Why are we so comfortable in allowing comedians to teach us how to be serious? That's the real question. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not real. Jay-Z will never do anything to help us collectively. Oprah, you can name them all. Did you see this idiot Steve Harvey going all the way to Africa?
Not saying that.
Go along with the narrative He gets to the Cape, to the port of no return, or whatever, the castle, or whatever that they done told these niggas they done shipped us from, where there's no physical evidence to do that. Matter of fact, the actual government said that this is where the people who used to live there in ancient times would throw their garbage out. So really, it's a glorified garbage chute in Africa that this nigga done went to, that they done told these niggas that all their African ancestors were shipped from, right? This nigga goes there, has some sort of cathartic experience, right? Sits down, starts crying and shit in a dashiki, right? In a dashiki. But then when I look on the dashiki, do you know that this nigga got the Omega Q Dog sign on it?
Ah, come on.
So you a nigga born in America that's in Africa, going through your African so-called catharsis, and you wearing kente cloth with Greek lettering on it, with a Greek black Masonic thing on it. And you wonder why they laugh at us. And you wonder why they shooting us 5-10 a week in the street. Because we are allowing these niggas. We are allowing these people. If our people,
like clowns, man.
If our people were really mentally well, do you realize none of these people would even be breathing right now? Any lesser people, any people who have gone through things like this as a mass, if they were really in their right minds, they would have been destroyed. All this shit would have been done. You understand? You understand the Chinese? In the rape there was a thing called the rape of Nanang, when they went in during World War I and basically raped almost 250,000 women. Okay, killed over 250,000 men within the first 3 days of the becoming the #1 military, financial, global power in the world. How was they able to do that? You see? Because they don't deal with bullshit. They don't deal with the shit we deal with. Look at Russia. Russia collapsed. We lived through that. I remember when the wall came down. Like, that was some big shit for these people, for these white people. I remember that happening. Russia was done. You understand? Russia had nothing left. Russia is now the second, basically, paid most country in the world. You understand? And these was communists. These was niggas that was against money. How they go and have billions of dollars now? Nobody asking this. You understand right now, in Africa, white Jesus is on tour. You understand? And African nations is letting them in.
I'm looking up right here the rape of, you said Naking or Nanag? Naking? Hello?
Sir.
Hold up. Lost him. Man, we got
to be true to our people, man. We got to keep it real, man. That's the whole thing, you know. Now we just out here looking like clowns, man.
Yeah, you already, man. Look, it's the rape.
Right. Y'all hear me?
Yeah, I got you. No, it's the rape of Naking. You said this is
Nanang. I believe it's Nanang.
Yeah, Nanang. Let me see that. Yeah, they said they wasn't just only raping women; they was raping men and sodomizing men.
Too. Dogs.
Damn.
They was killing everybody.
Everybody. They were out there like that.
Yeah, but see, they don't talk to us about none of this stuff. We don't understand war. When we think of war and power, again, niggas think about Robert Greene. This is why niggas is lost. Niggas is lost. Whenever you talk about power, you niggas either think about 50 Cent or Robert Greene. And that's a damn shame. Because none of that stuff they are not going to produce real tenets on you to be successful as an individual. The only success our people can truly attain is that together. But we're not going to be able to do that because a lot of us don't even believe what or who we are. We think when we tell each other something about ourselves, there's an automatic skepticism. But if I tell you something about yourself and I got a couple of $1 million in the bank, I'm going to listen. Even if I'm an asshole, even if I don't know what I'm talking about, Jay-Z, you see, because this now is the picture. He is the picture archetype of black upper nobility and success, and he's not. All he is a face. He is a mascot that is used to come in and flip up the public perception to allow Caucasian men to continue to exploit so-called minorities and people under colorable law, period. Because he's never done anything to help you. He's never done anything to help anybody but himself. And the people that he do help are people who owe him. You think he really helped 21 Savage because he's a good person? No, that's somebody else in my debt. You think he really paid off this nigga's thing, such and such and such? Why? No, because these are more niggas in my debt. The more people in my debt, you understand? Because he do business the way that his rock. Come on, man. He named himself after Rockefeller because he most likely his granddaddy, one of them was probably owned by one of them niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't do that. You don't talk about black upper nobility and then all your records talking about Italian mobsters and selling drugs to your people and shooting up your baby carriage and all this other type of shit. Like, you really think that made us good people? But no. What I told you, he had to revamp himself. So that's when he had to flip it again. So now that the Haven shit about to come out, now it's about to come out, I'm about to do this NFL deal. I got to shut down anybody else that could have potential bag on me. So Nas, I done already paid him off. We doing shows together. We like best friends now. So he'll never do either again. So that part of the hip hop culture, people will forget. Right? So that aspect that destroyed it destroyed him. Ether was done. I remember when that song came out, it was so powerful. I had a brother who was a Jay-Z fan. I came to his crib one day. We was about to go to the park or whatever. This nigga created a bonfire for all his Jay-Z shit. Damn. This is how deep that song was.
Yeah,
boy.
that shit
hit
hard.
That shit was powerful.
Yeah, that shit hit hard.
Because it was true. Everything in it was true. And you know, a Virgo, Earth sign, will give it to you in a way. You know, so that destroyed him.
Yeah, it killed him.
So from there, he had to re-evaluate because it's not. Remember what he represents. It's not him. It's what he's only as valuable as what he can do for them.
Right.
You understand? So if the people's not feeling him anymore, that means he's one sacrifice from being about again. You understand? Because you only as useful as your last ritual. So you got to do something. So let me put on this show at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Let me pay off Jimmy. Let me pay off Cam. Let me pay off the rest of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Them niggas ain't got no money.
I mean, he doing what, I mean, if you look at white supremacy and how they was running, and he clearing up his past, clearing up the history and getting rid of the enemies.
Clearing it up, bro. He got it all. He's following the Albert Pike playbook.
Right.
Play for play, man.
Straight to the
play for play. Yeah. That's how they did it. You got to whitewash it.
Africans, he do not care what black people say. He got on TV and said, "Yo, we done with the name. We done with it." I mean, I was never with it anyway, because it went from the don't shoot, right, to the hands up to the kneeling. So when is niggas actually gonna stand for something?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Brooklyn James and he's following Epstein's moves.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they created a whole nother circumstance for him to basically be the one. So he is what Bill Cosby was to that generation.
Running with it. Yeah.
He is to ours. And you see what they did to him.
Yeah, at the end, man. They wait till he got old, man. They brought him down.
Yeah, build all the way up, man.
They wait till he dogged his own community out and then was rolling with them, and then the vampires was unleashed.
Exactly. Look great.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
this is all up, yeah.
And this is true talk. What about that? The Epstein with that that Bill Clinton. The Bill Clinton oil paint, man, with him having Hillary's dress on.
The red heels.
Okay, yeah, you're talking about Epstein.
Yeah, with the picture, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was like, how did he get this? He had this picture like over his fireplace or something.
Yeah.
With him in the same dress that Hillary wore.
There's another one with George Bush he got one with George Bush with the goat head on. When they said that one time that George Bush went to the they had a meeting, some sort of government meeting they was having in the Oval Office, and they said the nigga showed up and came in with a giant goat head on, and then conducted the whole meeting in the goat head. So allegedly he got a painting of that too. The Epstein thing. See, me, I don't think that he's dead. That's just me, because he was deep, long-term sleeper Mossad. You know what I'm saying? And all right. He was long-time Mossad, and Mossad don't off they operatives like that. Like they extradite them.
I seen Munich. Yeah, I seen that. That was a gangster movie.
Yes. You see, so the motto of Mossad is make war by deception. So everything that they do, their mode of operation is always based on subterfuge, whereas CIA stuff is more about leverage. So like each clandestine agency will have like its own, it's beautiful. Each clandestine agency will have its own modus operandi, like how they do their thing and what they basis tactics are. So CIA is more like leverage based, blackmail, all of that. Mossad is more like subterfuge, deceptive subterfuge, like setting up like fake whole businesses, stuff like that. CIA will do that too, but theirs is more based and rooted in like Kabbalistic type of stuff. CIA stuff, when they do stuff, they're more dealing with like modern Freemason type of situation, because it's all based in the occult. All clandestine agencies have to have an occult relationship with some sort of system. You know what I'm saying? Right. So the reason why I don't think Epstein is dead is because Mossad and their tactics, they don't really off their own operatives like that. CIA will do that. You know what I'm saying? FSB will do that, because they'll have, the FSB, going back to the old Russian Federation, they had always had a problem with defectors. You know what I'm saying? Like people just trying to be out. But the thing, just like Operation Paperclip, all of the worst elements of any country that they invade and go in, they bring those people and integrate them into this country. You see what I'm saying? So you could be born in this country, not have any money, and be really, peed on and done away with in terms of the social services. But you could come from a whole nother country that's war-torn, don't speak a lick of English, and be broke off $700,000. You know what I'm saying? Set you up in a perpetual house and all of that. In predominantly white people. That's why you have so many Sudanese people in places like Wisconsin and Minnesota. And so many Ethiopian people in Washington. And so many, different types of, or Cubano or Haitian or whatever here in Andalusia, aka Florida.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because they use the indigent populations, the migrant populations, to destabilize whatever nation they're sending these people to. Because this is how they're able to maintain their global homogeny over the hostage humanity. Or anybody living under a government is a hostage, because that government is acting as your situation, unless it's a Republican form-based government in its infancy, or it's some straight monarchy that everybody agrees. And right now in the world, the only monarchy agreed upon like that exists for so-called melanated people is in Swaziland. They're also the only African nation that don't take no money from China.
In Swaziland, you said they're the only nation that don't take money from China?
Yeah, it's the only only so-called, it's one of the oldest so-called African monarchies, and they're one of the only countries that don't take money from China. That's why you don't hear about them losing it.
Wow.
Damn, they don't even fuck with them, huh?
So, like I said, this was just more of a situation where they don't have a consistent way to leverage public opinion anymore. So this Jay-Z deal is basically stripped away any credibility that he has anymore amongst so-called black people. The only black people that's going to support him from now on, in my opinion, is going to be like Freemasons, dick riders, you know what I'm saying? People that integrity in business doesn't mean anything to. So people say that in business you can't have integrity, but if that was the case, then none of our ancestors would be able to do business with one another. Why would we establish things like the laws of Ma'at, the divine creed, the 5 principles, love, true, peace, freedom, justice, equality, if those things are applicable to everything else but business? You see what I'm saying? Like they got us thinking in a European business model that is the only model that works financially for international business. And we know that that's not true. Because the United States is in debt to every country that it's invaded.
Oh, that tab, huh?
Yeah, man, because they they do business. I mean, they go in and raid the country, and then you know what I'm saying, they just run up the tab.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, in war, once the war is over, man, you know,
the debt that they owe to the nationals. The national debt is the money they owe the nationals. We are the nationals. So that's really the money they owe us.
Right.
Instead of coming and paying us, they can't pay us because we're not in our proper person. You see? Because the deal was, when we wake up, i.e. the original Amor Status, when we wake up, then everything reverts back to how it was. So all they got to do is keep us from waking up. And the main people that don't want to wake up is the people that look like us.
That's deep, man.
You know what I'm saying?
True talk, man.
Right. They have a vested interest in maintaining this. You can't want to see any real social justice if you make money with the police. And Rock Nation make money with the police. Period. Look at their logo. One of their logos is actually a police logo.
What you say now?
One of their logo, I don't know, it was something with the reverb. Something with the reverb. So quick. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You say one of their logos?
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, one of their logos, one of the logos he wearing on his hat, or Nipsey, one of them niggas wearing on the hat. That's the same logo as the police. What I'm saying is Jay-Z's the police. I don't give a damn what he say. He the police.
Hey, it is what it is.
What's the name of the police? All these niggas is the police. Remember, they had a meeting. Remember there was such thing as the hip-hop police? Remember them?
Right.
And we always thought it was niggas investigating the hip-hop rappers. No, that was an organization. It was led by this black man named Brian something. Some piece of shit. I forget.
Yeah, but he ended up leaving because it got too wild, right? The light skin dude.
Yeah, because they was
everybody
kill
was
him.
getting busted. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, because they was gonna kill him because he was also black. Because they was using blackmail against these niggas, man. That's what they do. That's how you know it was all CIA-based situation. Because they deal with honeypots. A honeypot is when they send a woman or a man to compromise you sexually. And then when you find out what's up, then boom, you gotta just toe the line for them forever. So again, when this nigga Jay stabbed Un, or whoever stabbed Un, and they made Jay take the blame, and then he wound up going in, that was his first rodeo. That's him now going in saying, look,
tied in,
you can do this or you could do that. And so he went and did this. Now, look at all of the music that he made after the arrest. And you'll see there's a more of a heavy, less emphasis on style and more emphasis on drug-heavy content.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
When he initially came out, it was about rap because we was MCs then. Niggas stopped using the word MC. You see what I'm saying? When niggas started taking the bags. You see, because it was no longer about rapping. Because an MC is a master of ceremony. Nobody was their own master no more.
Mm-hmm.
And now the ceremony became the ritual. And now everybody got to become smaller.
Bag, yeah.
And so everybody started becoming little. You see? Little Wayne, Lil Snoop, little this, little that. And then from there, no, actually it started with the Young. And who was the first person to start talking that shit? Jay-Z. Young Hove, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it was Young Dro. Then it was Young LA. Then it was Young this, Young that. See how they use one nigga to archetype the game? By making it seem like he's the Spengali with the real knowledge. He know how to get everybody what they need in terms of the knowledge and shit. Like, it's bullshit.
Yeah, his nephew, the Young Guns.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Young Guns.
Remember them?
Right.
Yeah, the Young Guns.
With Neef and Chris. And
yeah.
And everybody knows that he black listed Young Chris. And Young Chris had a relationship with, again, his so-called niece or nephew, depending on whether you or not think she a tranny, Tiana Taylor. And then again, Tiana Taylor was with Kaepernick. You see what I'm saying? So you see how it's all kind of connected. Because they use the same operatives as one big ruse. And everybody is playing their part in it. Yeah. And everybody's playing their part in it. And because our people just want to get paid and we want to actually believe that these people have our best intentions. Like we was talking about King James. This is exactly what they did to King James. King James, and those Moors of those European bloodlines, the original ones, the melanated ones, the Moorish ones, they were a part of something from time immemorial called the Privy Member Council. And the Privy Member Council was an extension of an ancient thing that took place in Europa from the days of Queen Scotia. She was the queen of Egypt who left there and went up into the land and then met King Galliope or something like that. And they got together and they married and set up the first, let's say, monarchy, Dominion monarchy up there in what we call Scotsland, which was named after her, Scotia, and then created a satellite kingdom to that over here called Nova Scotia. Okay? And one of the games that those Moors invented in Nova Scotia is what we call hockey. And so when Queen Scotia and the king, is with a G is his name, I forget. You can get a book called Ancient and Modern Britons, volumes 1 and 2, and it'll tell you all about this. They created a language. That language came to be called Gaelic. You see? So she brought with her one of the last stones from the original pyramid, and that became known as the Scone Stone. And so whenever they made a king that was from that line, they would put the stone under the person would be consecrated next to the stone to keep the line of who was the original rulers and shit. So by the time the dirty Moors started amalgamating and getting kicked out of there, the brutish Moors stole the stone and brought it to what we today call England, which now meant that according to the custom, any Scotland king now had to be now crowned in England, which then mean that England had control of Scotland. And once it had control of Scotland, it now had jurisdiction anciently over all of the other kingdoms that was associated with Scotia. You see? And so this is what laid the groundwork for what became the British East India Company and everybody else, because they now had ancestral, or felt they had ancestral right. So by the time they got rid of James and bleached out the monarchy through successive wars, the 100 Years' War, the 30 Years' War, the War of the Roses, the Venetian oligarchical war. You see what I'm saying? The war that led up to the assassination or the killing of what's her name? Louis and Antoinette, who again, these are Moors, these are black people. You know what I'm saying? Napoleon is a black man, but they're going to make it all that. Why? How can we tell that? Why? Because one of the oldest pictures that I found of Napoleon, he black. And if you look at the flag of the place that he's born from, everybody asks the layman, where was Napoleon born? They're going to say France. Wrong. He was born in Corsica. And Corsica, if you look at the flag of Corsica, pull it up. What you going to see?
Moors, right here.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, baby.
Exactly.
It's all right, baby. And so, James, at the time that he was being deposed by the amalgamateds that was coming up, because the Moors in Europa would use the Caucasoids and raise some of them up into their families. The first family house that they did this with was the House Wettin. Once House Wettin married into the nobility, that's when everything started going crazy. So long story short, they started making up all of these stuff about James. To basically, because what James was doing was he was trying to keep the monarchy going while commissioning documents that would tell the people, the nobles, what was really happening. That's where the Shakespeare thing came from. While all the Shakespeare sonnets was always about people's kingdoms being taken over and intrigue and all that type of stuff. That's showing you the end of the Moorish Empire in Europa. Then he created a companion book to go with the Bible. They called the Demonologiae. And the Demonologiae was where to teach you how to bind these demons when they manifest themselves and all types of
stuff. That's the book you can find on Amazon, right? Demonology?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually Demonologiae.
Demonologiae, okay.
Demonologiae. So James, again, had taken some of the stuff that they had left over from Granada and then tried to canonize it into this Bible. They didn't want that done. So because they didn't want that done, they had to start a eternal smear campaign against him and the family. Because what the whites was doing was they would marry into the family through valor, through some form of saving somebody or putting themselves on the line of something that would then separate them from the herd. Regular white peons. You had the Euros, the Moors, and then you had the peons.
Okay.
So the peons, the white boys, they would then marry in. Once they married in, or was able to marry in, the fortunate few, when they would have a baby, they would then purchase a Mameluke and then marry the baby, raise the Mameluke station, marry the baby to the Mameluke. Now we all white.
Right.
But we still got the family name, and we can use the family crest that got the black head on it. See what I'm saying?
Right.
And then from that point on, they started switching everything up. So James got wind of it, and then what was set up was these people called the Octavians.
Mm-hmm.
And the Octavians, they were basically like a financial body.
Okay.
And they were set up and they were appointed in 1596. So this is around the time that the term Native American starts being used. Up until this term, there's no international record outside of the Moors of the so-called Indians having any international trade or commerce. But there is evidence that the people they called the Amuraku, who we now today call the Arawak, had trade with different people. But the Arawaks weren't just indigenous to Jamaica. At the time, they was in America too.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of these people was that. So like I said, in the 1500s, there is no Indian. There's only people who are being referred to as Los Indios. The same way we refer to Mexicans as illegal immigrants.
Right.
That's how they used to call the Native Americans. They were like that. They were the ones that was enslaved between the fall of Granada and the end of the 1600s. And so the Privy Council, the Octavians, under James I think it's James, my Roman numerals, I always get them crazy.
Is it like the 6, right?
Yeah, it's James the 6th, that's right. It's the VI. I always get the VI and the IV inverted. So you have James VI, and then there was a guy named Lord Maitland, and there was another guy named what's this dude's name? It was Maitland, and there was another guy, and their financial situation was kind of done. So when they set up the thing, it was basically set up as a means to start to funnel money for the coming wars that was being fostered by the Romans acting as Venetians. And they commissioned to go in there, and they took over the Octavian body basically on the low by getting a bunch of dirty Moors to proxy for them. And then they basically used that to destabilize the European regime to be able to eventually move up in there. And then, like I said, by the end of the 1800s, the monarchy is totally switched up, bleached out. And then they started doing that to all of the monarchies all over the world. So that was what the British East India Company was doing. And then in the process of that, take the Bible that they based on the Geneva Bible, that they based on one of the ancient books of creation they found out of Granada and places like that, and then just circumvented what James was trying to do.
Right.
So a lot of blacks that we see as Christians here today are generational Christians. But there was Christianity, the original Christianity that was here before, when it was brought over here in the 3rd century by the Moroccan Brotherhood, monastic brotherhood that set up the first church, Christian church in America, in Massachusetts. So, again, as we see historically, there's always these little fake subsequent groups that create little sub-pockets to undermine everything and eventually either switch the government, coup d'etat the government, or do away with the old government and force everybody under the new. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what they do. So this is what we see playing out in all of European politics. But this whole strategy that we understand is communism, capitalism, even things like Darwinism and socialism and that, all that stuff you can trace back to a book written by a guy named Adam Smith, aka Adam Weishaupt, called The Wealth of Nations. And when you read that book, it basically talks about everything that we're living right now and how they wanted to implement that by even creating treaties off of wars that were never physically fought, and then imposing those wars on the populace that they may control through education. And then anybody that doesn't accept those battles as really being fought are then killed. And thus then the reconstructed history is then given as the real history, which is why we're so confused in where we are now. And so people like the people we see today running things or supposing to run things, like the Epsteins and these people, they're all a part of the same thing. So there's no difference between somebody like Jay-Z and Epstein if they both agree to go through the same, let's say, Freemasonic ritual that basically makes them more brothers to each other than to us. Because you have to keep their obligation first. They showed us this in the movie Rosewood. Remember when the white Mason killed the white girl?
Right.
And he ran to the black people, and then the dumb black Mason, I was a Mason, and then kept this white man's secret and wound up getting his whole people killed. It's a fake story, but a real allegory. And that's constantly happening. It's never stopped. Because our truest enemy is the people that look like us, that's willing to support our demise at the expense of their financial gain.
Yeah.
So really Jay-Z do exactly what Al Sharpton did. And Al Sharpton would go to country, would go to corporations and say, look, you better give me a check for $1 million or I'm gonna protest these niggas, get these niggas to come out and shut your business down. And so when everything happened, that became the crux. But he got that from Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson got that from Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King got that from, see what I'm saying? This is how they roll it.
can't be against the system and then be down with it. You can't say that you for the upward mobility of black people, but then you'll go to Sweden and get a Nobel Peace Prize from Rothschild. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't do that. But in this new world, you don't have to be anything. You can talk black revolution and be married to white men and white women. You can talk, be against, homosexuality, but then you be a raging homosexual. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how they got it now.
That's how it is now,
You was
man.
raised, be about what you say what you mean, keep your word, be
Keep it real,
honorable in all things, whether it be business, this or that. If we are honorable in each other in business, that means that all of our business can thrive. The only reason why all businesses can't thrive under capitalism is because in capitalism, just like socialism, the financial game is rigged. Because everybody participating in any sort of business in the United States technically is participating in a limited form of war.
Mm-hmm.
Because under the Clinton thing, they made it since 1867, the United States has been under military occupation. This can be verified through the surrender letter that the last governor of North Carolina wrote to the occupational military governor, General Canby, in 1867, when they said that they would kill him if he didn't leave and surrender the office.
What's his name? You said General Canby?
Yeah, the letter was to General Canby, but it was written by, I forget the governor's name of North Carolina in 1867.
Mm-hmm.
They basically took over that. So that letter is evidence that every government from that point, from 1867 to 2019, is under that military occupation. Therefore, they are foreign to the United States of America and General Congress Assembled, North Central South America, the Almoner Congress Estados, us as being remnant citizens of the several states, non-citizen, non-U.S. citizen nationals. That doesn't mean that we're not Americans, but you cannot be an American and a United States citizen at the same time. You have to be one or the other. If you want to be an American U.S. citizen, that means you are under the military occupation, and therefore you are a hostage on furlough. If you are in the republic as a national, then you are basically an ex-prisoner of war, which means that you have treaties in play that protect your liberties as you go and traverse through the lands that are under military occupation, which are any of the so-called emergency states of the United States. You see?
Mm-hmm.
That's why every president that comes in has to sign the emergency order to reinstate the state of emergency, to keep the military aspect that's been going on since 1867 going. Therefore, all businesses under military occupation have to be licensed. They have to be managed. They have to fall under labor codes, statutory business codes that force you to do business under the parameters of a war zone. The same way if we was in Vietnam, right, during the war, and we wanted to open up a business for the soldiers, we would have to get permission from the government, which again is under occupation, right? And they issue their licenses to you through whatever county or local aegis that is under their jurisdiction. And that's what's going on. That's why you got to sign for everything. That's why you got to have receipts for everything. That's why whatever, because there are no courts of law.
Exactly.
All of the courts are colorable. The only real courts are those that can function under Article 3, and to get to those, you have to be a national. So until we wake up to that understanding that you could be a Muslim, you could be whatever, but when it comes to your nationality, you want to be something that actually has some sort of international and interdomestic annexation to the land itself. So I'm native and I'm autochthon to the land. I'm original to the land. but I'm foreign to the corporate United States that was established after 1871. You see, when they created the Organic Act of 1871, they created the United States citizen, which was illegal because the United States did not have the ability to create citizens for itself. Therefore, all citizens had to be annexed and reorganized, and restructured or reconstructed under colorable law, which is why you got to be black, he got to be white, he got to be this, he got to be that. But if you notice, there's no such thing as a yellow American. There's no such thing as a brown American.
Right.
But on paper, you either got white or black, because those are the two forces, in a sense, that have the most dominance to the land. The white boys is using our names to maintain proxy control of the land, and they use their Negro servants, you see what I'm saying, to keep the perpetual lie of who we are going.
True talk.
Yeah, true talk, man. Subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep it going, man.
Yeah.
Hit that like button. Aseer breaks it down, man.
Man. Straight to the point.
So what around the time, before we get out of here, with King James, so when did the period they start lighting it up? The whitewashing was going on.
Between the 100 years, the 30 Years War and the 100 Years War, and then whatever blacks was left there to stay in wherever you was at. Like, what made Moors was that they were functioning under the ancient Islamic systems. That was a system that destroyed Rome, because technically all of the European powers were Roman powers. Remember, when the Moors went up into Spain in the 7th century, there was no Spain. You understand? There was no Spain then. So when they said that the Moors conquered Spain in the 7th century, they couldn't have conquered Spain because España was a designation that didn't represent an actual nation of people. The only people that was there were people called the Visigoths, who themselves is looking like we're melanated too. The Visigoths, and then you had a wild white version of them called the Ostrogoths that they would use as the wild Germanians that they would send out, like in Gladiator. Remember them wild?
Yeah.
Gladiator, when the wild ones.
The Vandals or the Germanics and all that.
Yeah. So think of the Romans. So think of that scene in that, whereas all of the Romans are basically lighter-skinned melanated people mixed with darker Carthaginians that have now been absorbed, and Numidians that have been absorbed into the Roman state, right? Then when you think of the wild white Germanians, they are like that. Those are the Ostrogoths, though. And then over the Ostrogoths, you have the Visigoths, the Visigoths, the Vizier, from Visigoth, the V-I-S is really V-I-Z, so that's the Vizier Goths. A Vizier is a Moorish term.
Okay.
You didn't know. That's like a Wazir, is where we get the term wizard from.
Okay.
Okay? And so the Visigoths would use the wild Ostrogoths to go do all of the wild work. You see what I'm saying? And then once they cleared out, then they would move down, and then, you see what I'm saying? And then they would fight the rest. And so they created a system of war where they used them like that. We just, in the Gladiator movie, we just didn't see the ones who was really running the wild white boys. So in the 7th century, after the Visigoths King Roderick was deposed, right? Roderick and his people got on boats because they were Romans, but they were like Romanic Christians, okay? They got on boats and they came over here into what they call the Antilles, that today they call the Caribbean. So if this would also make me know that they wasn't Caucasian, because if they was straight Caucasian like that, what Caucasians you knew, they was wild, savage Germanian Romans. Why would they get on boats and again go to a place, the Caribbean, they never been before, that's dumb hot? Remember, these supposed to be wild Germanian, like on TV. When you see them, any of them people sunning in the Bahamas? You don't see like that. So that didn't happen. So when you read the book, The Story of the Moors of Spain by Stanley Lane Poole, it talks about that Roderick and them left. But when you get into the real story, they left and they came over here because, again, they was melanated. And so they came here and eventually set up some of the ancient, some of the older Christian / Roman churches and foundations for some of the old cities, what they call the 7 cities over here.
Mm-hmm.
And so Spain wasn't established until 1497. So that means between time immemorial and 1497, there was no Spain on earth. So that means then that we shut Rome itself down the same way we had done before, because it's always this ancient war between our higher self, our lower self. So if Rome got its language from the Etruscans, and another people they call the Latins, but were actually called the Gaetulians. And these two peoples were connected to Carthage, which means that they were all ancient Latin speakers. And so that means the foundation of Rome, the first mothers of Rome themselves were women from Sabia, which is basically a satellite kingdom of what we now today call Ethiopia. This is why the Romans and the Ethiopians or whatever. This is also why Mussolini went and invaded Ethiopia. Mussolini is from Rome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was basically going and trying to take that back, because the Ethiopians that's running the stuff now from Axum aren't the original ones that was running stuff back in the days. The original kingdom was in Liabella. The original capital was Liabella. The Axumite Ethiopians came after they were exiled from Southeast India and then settled there. That's why the phenotypical Ethiopian you think of, when you think of an Ethiopian, somebody look like Selassie or Nipsey or somebody like that, that's one side, but that's not, again, the original ones. The original ones was more darker skinned, and they were connected to a people called the Turkana. That's still there. The Turks. See? So there's a connection between Ethiopia, the ruling aspect of Ethiopia, and Europe, which is why Ethiopia was never conquered or invaded. This is why when Selassie got into the beef, he didn't stay and fight. Where did he go? He went to Britain, which was the new capital of Rome. You see what I'm saying? Because at this time, Rome is being run by the Vatican. So again, this is a proxy war. Right. So the Vatican wants to take its control back from its ancient forefather, Ethiopia, because they were the ones that helped found Rome. That's why Rome split between the Latin speakers and the Greek speakers, or the Macedonian speakers, the ones in Byzantine and all that. You see? So we are more connected based upon these ancient situations, you know, than we think. It's just that the modern reconstructed history is what's keeping us up, because this history got the Caucasoid wedged into it at the top, and he not. So now that he's going extinct, he's pulling out all the stops, because white supremacy, as we understand it, all that is done. So the question is, now that it's done, who's going to try to revive it and be the new white man?
Mm-hmm.
So you got China coming up for that. You got, you know what I'm saying? Whenever you see countries and they abusing Asiatic people, poor people, those are the ones that's vying for the new control for the white man. So that's West Papua New Guinea. You know what I'm saying? They got all that shit.
Right.
Trying to take it over.
Wow, man. Shit drops some dimes, man.
Every time, man. Powerful, man.
Man. Yeah, this a lot to take in, man. We've been on here for a minute, man. You got anything else to go over, man? We didn't broke it down.
Trying to think. Not too.
But
what else is right? Yeah, well, to put a pin in the Epstein thing, I don't think that he's dead. I think that they just swapped him out and because there's so many people at risk, because the Mossad, he was a Mossad agent. So him and people like Leo Cohen, that's another Mossad agent. You know what I'm saying? Rahm Emanuel, that's another one. His brother Ari Gold in Hollywood, Harvey Weinstein. You see what I'm saying? All these niggas is card-carrying Israeli operatives. You see what I'm saying? But when they say the United States, they're speaking of Washington, London, Tel Aviv, and Rome. You know what I'm saying? When we think the United States, we're talking about, well, when the layman says the United States, they're talking about really, you know, the 50 so-called states, right? But really, the United States is really on land, is really just Washington. Everybody else who is only that because they accepted the designation that goes with that thing. So that's the issue. So again, the Epstein thing, that's just to shut down the pedophile thing and to protect the white pedophiles, because all the white pedophiles are sanctioned. You know what I'm saying? When you think about the Atlanta child murders, remember that?
Right.
Doing all that. Everybody was always, you know, it's a white man, but no, it was the black man down with it, because what white man you knew could just, beside the police, could just run through the black community, stick a bunch of kids, nobody say nothing. You might could do that now, but back then, you had to be somebody from the community to be in the community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they was snatching these kids up in broad daylight. You know? So the only way that would be trusted would be either somebody they knew or somebody that looked like them. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no little white boy. I walk down the street right now. Ain't no little white boy jumping in the car. Period. You know what I'm saying? But they created a climate to be able to do that, and that climate from then still exists now. So when you hear this whole thing about the sex rate, the HIV rate in Atlanta being 70%, and then when you hear about, you know, so many gay people and all that stuff and dealing with Atlanta, because Atlanta was always targeted for that. You see what I'm saying? They've been targeting Atlanta for that type of situation from the King Day, when they was dealing with, messing with Ray Charles and them. Because, like I said, each state is at war within its own self, because you have people in the state that may be against white supremacy, but because they're white, you see, they function under somewhat of a hive mind mentality, because their greatest fear is us. It's innate. It's innate in who and what they are. It's innate being, because of the millennia that we, you know, dominated them.
Yeah.
Destroyed them. And so the part of us that's willing to help them still exist is the real issue.
But I want to also take too with the Lord, with the King James things, with everybody, you know, they read the King James Bible right now. Isn't the palace named after one of the King James that was like homosexual too? Lord Buckingham?
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like I said, like the homo thing, him having sex with his mother thing, that was, again, them putting out, the Venetian oligarchy putting out smear stuff against the black nobility. That's why they refer to them as the black nobility. The black nobility was the original nobility that was wiped out between, like I said, the 30-Year War, the 100-Year War, the War of the Roses, the destruction of the Habsburgs at Napoleon's hand. All of that stuff had been deposed. But remember, this is a war that's happening on both sides of the world. So if the holdings, so if Britain is fighting the war over there in what we call England over there, England is also any place that the English have dominion in. So that means that the war is being fought here as well. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? If the war is being fought in Spain over there, then that means it's also being fought here in Mexico, California, Florida, Louisiana, Nevada, Arizona. You see what I'm saying? Because according to the congressional record, we had dominion over all of that. The Mauritanian races, which means the ancient Moors, the Moorish peoples, and their Indian associates. The Indian associates were the ones who were not able to do international treaties and things like that and had direct dominion over the land. They lived more of an agrarian situation. And a lot of them were descended, the Mongolian-looking ones, was descended from the first wave of invasion that happened in the 13th century when Genghis Khan sent them niggas over here with the invasion to invade Peru. And they went all the way up from Peru all the way into California and to the Mississippi. And then after those wars, they got shut down, and then those Siberian, whatever you want to call them, people we call Native Americans today, got put on what we call reservation. We did that first. And then they lived in the plains and hunted the buffaloes and did their thing and thrived, and eventually they started trying to bang on us. So we shut a lot of them down until the white man came. And then the white man would go fight us, denationalize many of us, and then start doing fake treaties with them. But they never had no international situation popping, and they not really from here. So when the white man said, okay, cool, I'm going to deal with the Indian associates, do associates run the country, run the company?
No.
No. So they treaties could be related because they was already responsibility. And then the white man, knowing that they don't have no real annexation to the land, he know he ain't got to honor the treaty now, because now what he's going to do is force them to interbreed with him. And so you get the $5 Indian breeding with the Siberian whatever, and then they create the so-called Native American. See what I'm saying? These niggas you see on the thing now. All them people come from Russia.
And they just put out the lie. They just took, put out the lie and just took over the land.
They got our people today calling themselves things that that's not what they are. You are not a descendant of a slave, because you could never be from Slovenia if you got melanin. Because Slovenia was the universal slave state that we imported the people through. And under Tsar Nicholas II, he freed 22 million of them white servant slaves, and then those was the slave class that he owned, and they flooded the rest of the world with them. And then their descendants are the ones that married up with the last of the Mamelukes and the last of the Janissary corps that were stationed in areas to do battle and stuff for us. And then they married up, and then they hooked up with the Khazarians, right? Who's now just getting let out the caves and being civilized. And then boom, this now creates the first core of what we'll start to call Caucasian people. And then by 1681, there's enough of them civilized where they start integrating them, and then they coin the term white to distinguish them from the rest of the other one. Because now they're taking the term, they're now going to switch the caste. They're going to now start to depose any Moors that get captured. They're going to force them into Christianity, which would then bring them out the empire. And then if they don't take it, they'll kill them and then raise their children on war camps. And then from the war camps, we put them in the Indian Moors charity schools to get rid of their culture, and then whatever's left of that culture we're going to give to these new Siberian people that we're going to call Native Americans in this. There's a book you can get on all this, 10 Years of Secret Diplomacy, Morocco as it is. They were white and they were slaves. The Forgotten Cause of the Civil War. White Cargo. The Pirates of Baltimore. The Barbary. The Pirates of Barbary in Baltimore. Pirate Utopia. Black Confederates. Black Masters, White Slaves. You know what I'm saying? Like, this all white people know. The only ones that don't know is the blacks that think they smarter than they are. You know what I'm saying? And the Freemasons, that's rich sons of our mother. You know what I'm saying? We all build and all of that. We descend from those pyramids and mound builders and all that. I ain't talking about that. Because that's inherent. Each Moor is a master mason because we're born on a square. We naturally rise up to our 33rd degree because we can utilize every lumbar in every spinal thing in our 33 degree spine, meaning we stand straight up. When white people get old, they start bending over, they start curling up, they start shrinking, because the natural state for them is not standing upright. That's why they're not upright. That's why they deal with all of the racism stuff. You could have the greatest white so-called person who believes that they're white, but again, I don't even believe in that. But I gotta use these terms because these are the terms that people understand these things in. So even though I don't even believe in black and white as a construct, as a race of people identifying factor for people, I still have to use that. You see the problem? I still got to use that to quantify and qualify what I'm saying, which in some ways still makes me perpetuating the problem. You see what I'm saying? You see? So even though I'm bringing clarity to it, there's still some people that are so inundated with the old understanding of that, they can't open their minds to being free of it. And so until then, niggas gonna keep kneeling, niggas gonna keep holding their hands up, niggas gonna keep talking about how they can't breathe, and these people will still gonna keep getting killed, shot up, stabbed up, organ harvested, molested, everything. Black people have no means of protecting themselves. They don't. Because everything they do is either on Twitter, Instagram, online, Facebook. You see what I'm saying? They don't have a community base to be able to even protect their own children because half of them is dealing with ACS. You see what I'm saying? Like they don't even have their own structure to say, okay, I don't want my son to be vaccinated, so we're going to build our own school. We're going to do that. Mexicans do it. Chinese do it. Vietnamese do it. Everybody else that got an actual culture scene do it for y'all. These crackers, there's an old cracker from back in the days. I even found out there's a song that one of these old, like back when they used to have phonographs of some old cracker, and the song was called Every Race Has a Flag Except the Negro. And it's a song. It's like a song that people used to go and like dance at balls and shit in. Like this is how they mock us. Everything they doing is mock us. So again, Nipsey was never independent. You can't be independent. And the first time I heard him reference Hova in a positive way, I knew he was down with the whole shit. So this whole independent thing, all of that was a ruse. Because if it was that, then it would be no legal disputes right now. If all his paperwork was right and all that, it would have been no problem now. But it ain't, because he involved Jay-Z in his deal, and essentially he was signing him. And now all of that deal money and stuff that he was getting go to Atlantic, which means it go to Rock Nation, which means it go to Live Nation, which means it go to another music group. I forget the name of it, but it's a giant whatever you can find out too. Just research who sponsored the London Marathon this year. Whatever the company that sponsored the London Marathon, that's the parent company for Live Nation, which is the parent company of Rock Nation, which is the parent company of Atlantic.
London, you said the London what?
Marathon. That's why it was interesting that he got shot in front of the Marathon store. See what I'm saying? And right maybe 13 days or 31 days before the London Marathon.
That's sponsored by Virgin Money?
Yep. There you go. You got it. So that's Richard Branson, right?
Okay, Virgin Money UK. Let me see. Okay.
There you go. That's Branson. That's Richard Branson.
Yep. Senior Richard Branson.
Tied in.
See, I know, bro. I'm telling you. That's who's actually cutting the checks on Nipsey.
Damn.
That's who getting the money. That's who thing. And your boy was all out letting it go down. So again, I'm not trying to diss nobody that's making money. I'm not saying don't make money. I'm not saying don't be a capitalist. I'm not saying don't be a Freemason. Do what you want to do, man. Y'all believe in that anyway. Ain't that what y'all believe? Y'all Crowleyites, y'all niggas do what y'all will, right? Do what thou will should be the whole of the law. That's what they believe. So they believe they could do anything, and it'd be okay. Because none of y'all is alive anyway. So technically anything they do to people is not really being done to people, because all people are Goyim. And all Goyim are sheep, and all sheep are there to be sheared. That's how they look at it. So once you take that sharp mentality when it comes to business, that becomes your acumen for everything. So I don't look at anybody on TV that's a celebrity to have integrity or speak for me or do anything for black people. I take it that whatever I'm seeing this person is the opposite. Because that's what they believe. They are Areopagites. They are the descendants of what they call Mount Areopagus. And that's where they would go and cut their penises off and dress up as women and put on plays and do all of these fake things. But even the Romans would not allow them niggas to own no property. Once you went into that, you could do whatever you want, but you cannot be considered a man or a woman. Therefore, the state runs the property. So now look at the parallel. Now they want a gender-free society where nobody has a gender. But if nobody has a gender, then the lines of descent have to be erased, which means what? The state will own the property. You see?
Yeah.
And that is the goal of transgenderism. That's the goal of all of that. It's to get you to be so identifiable that when the judgment comes, you can't be distinguished from the heathens. You can't be distinguished from anybody else because you done advocated for everybody else's right on earth except what is right. So, that's where it's at, Mo.
Yeah.
Everybody's acting like they got a handle on the elephant, that they holding the tail of the elephant, telling everybody they got their hand around the whole thing. Everybody want to be Indians. Everybody want to hate moles.
Right.
But only found out what is like maybe 10 months ago, 2 weeks ago. But because they don't watch this tape and this nigga sound like you know what you talking about, that's what it is. But any nigga calling himself an Indian is sick. You might as well just call yourself a Christian or whatever, because all of that stuff was created after. And if we're really going to be honest with ourselves, the only actual people on file, on record, internationally, enslaving, banging on this devil was the Moors. Period. If you go back to any niggas that was doing it, that wasn't considered Moors, they had relationship with the Moors. But, like everything else, that has too much access to money. So, and control of the land. So we're going to roll with this 2020 census and make you niggas think that it's all about being red, black, and green. We're going to create Coming to America 2 for you. We're going to, you know what I'm saying? We're going to make Little Mermaid black. You know, we're going to come out with Black Panther 2. We're going to get Jigga to put out another, Reasonable Doubt. Watch. And people going to eat it up, as great as Kaepernick was, once he got that check, niggas stopped kneeling. And to put the cherry on top, when anybody deal with Jay-Z, somebody wind up dead. You know that. So right after this nigga signed an NFL deal, what's his name from the football team wind up dead.
You talking about what was his name?
Oh man, I'm trying to think you're talking about. Was it offensive lineman or something?
Look it up. Yep, like a day after. So I'm not saying hold on. I ain't saying that. What I said was
Cedric Benson. It was Cedric Benson.
There you go. Benson, right?
Where?
Benson. Ben meaning son. Ben means son. And son. So that's double son. So that's son's son. What was the first name?
Cedric.
Yeah,
they said he died on a motorcycle accident. Just out the blue. Just
like Jay-Z nephew. When his nephew or somebody died in a car accident, some sort of motorcycle accident too.
Yeah, Jay-Z nephew, I think he was in some like a car accident. He flew off the mountain or something.
In the intelligence situation, they call the accidents like that the Boston brakes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When they hit your brakes. So again, I'm not saying he murked them. I ain't saying that. I'm saying that when anybody messed with him, they wind up dead. Didn't Nipsey go to that party with him? Didn't Nipsey take them pictures with him? And then what happened? Nipsey wound up dead, right?
You talking about with Jay-Z, Nipsey when John...
When they went to that party. When they were there with Khaled and all of them, and he was in purple, and they all said, it's him, Puffy, Khaled, Jay-Z, and somebody else. And Puffy, Khaled, and the other dude is standing on one side, and then Nipsey is standing like totally on the side of them, but like away in all purple.
Hold up. Okay. Oh, right here. Okay, right here. Okay, I got you. Okay.
Once I see him in the purple, I was like, oh yeah, it's a wrap. Get out of here.
That color, right?
Get out of here. You can't be independent and be with Jay-Z. You can't do that because he represent corporation. He represent that gateway into that with them people. So I think it was BS from the door. But what I do know is, as soon as he wound up making a deal with that dude, he's out of here. Soon as this dude take over the NFL, this NFL dude out of here. Soon as he took over, Beanie wound up in jail.
Yeah, it's just like every time he with Nipsey in these pictures, it's like this old fake ass laugh.
Yeah, something's about to happen.
Wow.
Tied in deep, man. In too deep.
Man.
So they can say what they want, but I'm just knowing I'm seeing it, you know. But again, this is why situations happen where we have to be honest with the children. You're going to be, if you're talented at anything, eventually you're going to be approached. And when you are, you got to know what to do, because that's going to be your moment. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're going to live your life free or you're going to be somebody's eternal slave. And that's what it's boiled down to now. All of this other stuff is window dressing. We really talk about good and bad. The fact that they trying to get rid of male and female lets you know that it's about good and bad, or what we perceive as right and wrong.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. I got a picture up with Jay-Z. He meet with Nipsey with this John Lennon shirt on.
See that? With the John Lennon shirt with the black joint on. And
earlier.
He got the black trench coat over his shoulder. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's looking like the Undertaker. Like the Grim Reaper. Look at that nigga.
We're gonna want something like that.
Right? Everybody feasted off of that sacrifice. Norman London got a new show. T.I. got a trap museum. What's his name? Did this. Everybody blew up from that death, man. Look at his baby mom. On his baby mom's Instagram, this chick was on that with everybody else but him. The one picture she had with the nigga is when she was allegedly pregnant, with his baby. Because they even go, I done seen people go in on that.
That's crazy,
so this
man.
nigga wasn't even born a dude.
Damn, that's crazy.
This is how deep the game is, Mo. This is what I'm saying. So again, I'm not co-signing any of that. All I'm saying is, when you're in that cipher and you're in those positions, you definitely will have to make a choice.
Right.
And
rolling with the punch.
That will define who you are, whether you're with us or against us. But as it stands now, the only people with us is us. And that us is those of us that co-sign stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? And that gets smaller and smaller every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But again, Allah, what does it say? One learned man is worth more than 1,000 worshipers. The blood of the scholar is worth 1,000 times more the blood of the martyr. So that means remembrance of Allah is worth more than prayer. These are all things from the Quran and these books that these people believe so much in but don't read. If remembrance of Allah is worth more than prayer, then that means, what does that say about people praying to Allah? And that may be explaining why there's so much death and murder and all that, because they don't remember even what they're praying for. They just praying. They just circling the Kaaba stone. They just going to church. They just taking the Eucharist. They just, you know what I'm saying? They just lighting the incense for Buddha. Whatever they doing, they ain't putting no real spirit into it, because the only value that we're seeing is the value of a very few people that are using these things as couches for their true agenda. And the true agenda is the enslavement of our future in the form of our children. And our children, unfortunately, have no protection other than us. But how can we protect them when we can't even protect ourselves? We can't even look at a nigga and know that what we're looking at is actually a female. And then when somebody put us onto that, we make it like, oh, you bugging, that ain't real, that's something spirit, because we can't deal with the fact that we have been duped on that level. So again, who's the real problem? The problem is our perception and what we are giving our energy to. It's all to the wrong shit. So, People can big up all that. I last time I was really even into football was when fucking Harry Carson was playing. So I'm not affected by none of this. But what this says now is everybody's at risk. Even more so now because they got the real devil at the helm. This devil will let them white people do anything to them players now.
You're right, man. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't got no wins no more. And Kaepernick ain't coming back.
Nah.
Because he done got his bread. So he out.
Yeah, he already took the settlement.
Yep. You took the settlement, which means you took the payoff.
Everything you stood for is you got paid off.
Can't say nothing, nigga. Instead of Jay-Z and these niggas getting together, you know what? We're gonna start our own football league like Donald Trump did. when they had beef with Trump said, fuck that. I'm gonna set up my own
football league, yeah.
Because that's what bosses do.
Yeah.
Bosses go and set their own shit up. Bosses go.
Y'all want me in, I'll start my own.
Bosses do it, and he did it. Fell in debt with it, went bankrupt with it, but hey, that's what he do.
He did it, yeah.
And then when the nigga got president, then he flipped it on him. He took his revenge. Remember when he was sanctioning the NFL, all that? That was the only reason why them niggas started kneeling and all of that with the players, was to defy him. They don't give a damn about no niggas. Come on now. They don't care about black niggas like that. And any black nigga think they do is owned by them. Because they're owners. They call them owners.
Owners.
Owning what? The team. Who plays on the team? People. Oh. So you own people.
That's it.
But hey, I get that check, right? But look, but you know who? But again, when there's dark, there's light. LeBron set up a school, whether it be a rape camp or whatever. I hope it don't be. But at least he did something. Got niggas in there for free. And went to his black homie. Said, look, I need a manager. His homie said, I don't know how to manage. He said, I don't care. Make it happen. His homie becomes the highest paid agent in all of sports. So what does the white man do? He creates a law that says that you got to go to college now in order to be an agent.
Rich Paul.
So what does LeBron do? A boss. He don't make a record about it. He don't go and just go diss all white people. He said no. What they did, he said, yeah, I figured they were gonna do that. We call it the Rich Paul law. They just set that up just because they don't want no black man to win. And my man was really winning. And you know what happened? Enough people heard about that, started making complaints. Guess what? Rich Paul law done. So now Rich Paul can be in there. So now what happens? Jay-Z wants to now set up set up a sports management company. See? There's no originality from the people. When you sell your soul, that's it. You can't create nothing. Nope. You gotta provide more souls, and that's it.
Damn.
So they know people. They know our people, and they know that we don't care about a lot of stuff. So they're gonna get away with it.
Quick way to break it down, yeah.
You know what I mean? But one monkey don't stop no show, and the judgment's still coming. It's here. There's a point in our soon-to-be future where we are going to see this whole thing upended. And everything we thought was fake is real, and everything we thought was real was fake. And all these niggas that's been talking all of this stuff against Moors, against the ancestors, against people like y'all, against people like me, they gonna see. They see it now. I'm watching the stuff that I've been putting out on YouTube come out the mouth of like mad different people now. Not just in the conscious community. I'm talking about on the History Channel. I'm talking about on other YouTube. White people, white boys talk about Moors and how they was the first ones hit. Like, what? What's this thing is that? I'm watching History Channel and they talking about, oh yeah, Hannibal was black and the first black kings was black. I was like, are they watching? Yes.
Reenactment.
They have no choice now, man. They you know how you look at it. The internet, man, and all this information flowing have pretty much has put them in the corner, man.
All right, the truth comes to light.
Looking for the ones that hasn't been involved. There's only very few of us that have been in this game for as long as we have, And we have not been embroiled in all of the other controversies that's destroyed all of these other so-called scholars and people here to bring us in, because in the end, that was never their purpose, man. They was there to distract you from anybody that was really giving you the real. And therefore, the real ones got blacklisted. That's why you don't hear about Bobby Hemmett no more. That's why you don't hear about Brother Dawood. That's why you don't hear about C. Freeman L. and certain people who are giants in the community. Even certain scholars, Chenk Ankh Diop and these type of people. You don't even hear about them no more. The Empress Veradis. These are people who actually really laid groundwork. Prince Uriel Bey, Myra Shira L. Like, there was a lot of people over the years when we was doing shit on videotapes. You know what I'm saying? Khalid Muhammad. Everybody talked about how great he was in the nation and the Panther, but nobody says that before he left the earth, he let everybody know that he was a Moor. Why would he do that? And then why, after everything he did, once he said that, that's when they said, oh, we gotta get him. Why? Because, man, everybody know, but everybody gotta keep that secret. And unfortunately, this is the time where all the secrets is out. So all we gotta do is like what we said, doing, just keep forums like this open for people who want to hear, deal with your community, people, you know, person to person, and extend it as much as you can. Other than that, when you start trying to go into the system and change it from the inside, that's, you down with it. That means you want to be down with it now. There is none of that. There is no infiltration. The only people that infiltrate is COINTELPRO people. You're going to have to be a stone cold, hardcore individualist to have something to actually move for. Because now it seems like individual progress has now come to represent collective progress. So if Jay-Z made it, we made it. You know what I'm saying? If Kanye made it, we made it. You see? No, we didn't. No. We're actually doing worse. And them niggas don't care. Because if they did, they wouldn't be in the cipher they are in. White men get together, and they put their money together and create something. Black men put their money together to get out of something. See what I'm saying? White man created a business, man. He named it after him and his son. Black man created a business, he named it Supercuts or Fresh Beats or...
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a difference in understanding generational wealth as opposed to generational curses. And they both are simultaneous. Don't think just because these niggas is billionaires and they live in a life that they really live in a life. They are more enslaved than us. Jeffrey Epstein was way more enslaved than even us, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying to have sympathy for the devil. I'm just saying that he was literally created probably in a moonchild ritual to do all the shit he did. So having sex with babies and children and all of that, that's nothing to him. That's not evil if it wasn't taught to him to be evil. Mm-hmm. You see? But that don't absolve Chris Tucker being on the manifest on one of the flights going to on the Lolita Express going to the pedophile island.
Right.
That don't excuse him. That don't excuse Arnold Schwarzenegger, or that don't excuse Bill Clinton, which is why he had the oil painting of him in the dress. Because that's how he is. That's how they all dress around each other. You could look up pictures of Rudy Giuliani dressed up in drag kissing Donald Trump. He used to dress up in drag all the time. His drag name was Rudia. This is the mayor of New York City, Morse. They used to call Andrew Cuomo the homo.
Shit crazy.
They said, he used to do all the sex rituals up at Gracie Mansion. David Duke. David, was it David? Not David Duke. David Dinkins. When he was running New York, he was part of the bootleg, the heavy bootleg thing. They used to have heavy bootleg rituals up in there. They're the ones that brought Clinton into Harlem. Mm. And to do that, they had to destroy Sister Soldier. And Puffy helped them do it. Chuck D helped them do it. Griff let them do it. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever, B. Half these niggas work for the government, man. That's the other side. You got federal bounty hunters, Homeland Security. Look it up, more. I ain't gonna say no names right now, but they know. And these niggas is making DVDs, and they making videos, and going to lectures, and lighting incense and all of that with y'all.
Man.
And y'all right up in there with them. These niggas done been in the army. These niggas done killed people. These niggas done raped women, all types of shit. Navy, yes, Hotep Pool, sister, yes, like.
Yeah, like my man, what's my man, Planet Rock? That motherfucker was the gayest, you know.
Niggas love cults. Niggas love anything that's gonna keep them from getting to where they need to go. So long as the distraction is there, I'll be able to stay and keep this reality going. Because we all used to it, myself included. I'm used to TV. I'm used to a car now. You know, I'm used to living in a certain way.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? None of us are exempt. But I'll tell you this. I've been in situations where I haven't had none of that. None of it. Where I've literally been in the street, having to sleep in libraries, in the thing of libraries, because I got kicked out of my house because I chose to read and follow what the Prophet Noble Ali was talking about. And I wouldn't go to church and shit no more. You understand? Like, this is what black people deal with from their own people. Ain't no white man do that to me. No, what the white man did was when he saw me sleeping outside the Brooklyn Public Library, he told me where I could go in the back where it was warmer. And the nigga brought me some goddamn coffee and shit. While I'm sitting there, staying up all night to read these damn books, to then have to go to the Y to get a shower, go to work, because I still had a job. Go to work, then after work, pick up my son and stay with him for the rest of the day until his mother come home from work and then start the whole thing home. And researching shit wasn't popular. Now, you know, niggas act like they been out here, you know what I'm saying, writing 100 books and stuff while they was locked down. Like, this what I mean more, like Allah knows what you are willing to do based on by what you have done and what you have said no to. That's what I believe. And obviously on this phone, on this combo, and everybody listening, we have chosen not to indulge the bullshit. If there's any aspect of the bullshit that's there, we have asked the Creator, which is the higher self, to reveal it to us and create a forum for us to be able to share that with one another at least. And that's why I'm here. That's why you here. That's
man, you dropped jewels, man. We got 100 and some people in the room. We should have 100 and some likes. Hit that like button. Oh man, so how can I get in contact with you, Aseer?
Anybody want to hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. That's HOUSEOFEL @hotmail.com. On Facebook, you can look me up at Aseer Ali Cordoba. I won't be able to respond to you right now, though. They don't ban me again, so give it a couple of days. What else? You can check out me on YouTube. Just type in YouTube, Aseer the Duke of Tears. Also, go to www.gumroad.com and then type in Aseer the Duke of Tears into the search. Also, go to www.cordobaorganics.com for any type of skin, body, like the biggest organ on our bodies is our skin, and our skin is the first thing that goes under attack. So we should be fortifying it with things that are actual real things. Melanin responds to real things, real events, real kinetic energy. And real products do that. And I guarantee you, the Queen's products, Cordoba Organics, she's got testimonials of it healing eczema and all types of stuff. But again, these are ancient Moorish recipes that was actually brought forth, handed down to her to be able to put this out. And it's really been helping people. So I would really suggest people support that as opposed to all of the Jay-Z back stuff like Carol's daughter. With all the,
I used to actually be with Carol's daughter. Man, I used to buy my female Carol's daughters back then until she sold out to Jada. You know, it hasn't been the same.
That you be better putting Crisco on your skin using that stuff. And I'm not even hating. Even if I wasn't with this woman, if I came across it, I would use it just because of the fact that there is no artificial. When I say no, I mean no. None. Whereas everything on the market has at least something fake in it. That's why this market that we're doing, not only us like with this, but you guys with the show and things like that, We're creating, this is what black economics is. This is our market. Right. We don't need mainstream media to do that. Mainstream media is based on what pops off in the underground. So the underground is really the mainstream. So we maintain the control of the underground, the mainstream follows suit. Like I said, I was watching something, and what's this dude? I'm talking to my son or whatever, and I just hear blah, 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 dark plasma synthesis. I was like, what? And I look at the screen. I'm like, what? I know I'm the only person that did a DVD or whatever called that. I look on it, it's this Caucasian dude. No, this is Indian. No, not Indian. Asian dude who always be on like ancient aliens and stuff like that. And he's like a physicist. He be, whenever they want to talk about astronomy and theoretical physics, they bring him and Neil deGrasse Tyson out, both of them actors, and put it out there. And I'm watching him, and he's literally gleaning over, what dark plasma and all that stuff is, and it's literally almost like what I said.
They stealing, man, stealing.
Yeah, but Allah is merciful, and He created something called timestamps. You know what I'm saying? On your stuff. So when you upload or put something out, there's a stamp on that says when it was. So if there's something that come out after that similar, see, this is the basis of that. So unlike when I came in the game, nobody was doing their own stuff. Nobody was recording their own stuff. They all relied on that guy in Harlem to do all that for them. And I always was marveled at how these brilliant brothers would allow this guy to exploit them like that. So my queen was the one that said, look, I just got this camera. We about to do this. Because we ain't going to let this nigga control nothing. And she was right. And that's why a lot of these niggas hate women. Wow. The whole transgender gay thing is about hating black women. They hate women. They hate black women. And we got to, so-called black women, we got to get over that, man. Yeah, they got problems. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I've been tormented in my life at points by black women. But you know what? It's better that you be with almost the craziest black women, so-called black women, than the most sanest, nicest white girl. Because in the end, when it comes down to it, the only one that understands you on that level is going to be the one that looks like you.
Right, man.
Period.
That's right, man.
And until Asiatics remember that about each other, they're going to keep pumping the neutrinoid births as the thing for black people. They're going to keep pumping Jesse Williams as the black revolutionary. You know what I mean? Obama as the what to aspire to be a black man. You know, the other dude that did Colin Kaepernick to be the activist and all that. So if this represents black activism, then what do people like me represent? Because I'm not that light. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What do people like this person represent? They way darker than that. So they are creating the enmity amongst our people by picking and choosing what color is going to represent what faction of the community. And we letting them do it. Yep. So in the end, man, position, heal thyself. Let's learn to love instead of hate. Respect to you guys. Respect to all of the elders and the ancestors that put in work. Respect to the prophet, Juali. Respect to everybody again that has done work and has never been heralded for it. You know, nothing goes unseen, and Allah is seen and heard everywhere. And let's support each other, man.
That's right, man.
You know what I'm saying? And let's call BS when we see it. And let's stop supporting. Let's try this. Let's stop supporting everybody else but us.
That's right.
Let's only support our own people.
With that.
Let's do it for a year. Let's start there. Let's start for 1 year. You only support and patron people that look like you. Even if points you don't want to. Like sometimes we got to put our people in place. Like, look, I want to support your business. But you got to get this shit together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Man. For support.
Sometimes people will react positive to that. And be like, thank you, brother. Thank you. So again, I'm forcing my business on you, nigga. Get it together. And see what happens. That's what crackers do.
Spend some money with you. Get it together, man.
That's what crackers do. Cracker will give his last to a white bum before he give it to you. Because he know if he give it to you, you sure enough gonna do something with it. And they cannot be ahead when you are. The way that this is going to work is either us at the top and them at the bottom, or them at the bottom and us at the top. They won't let it be no other way. They won't do that. When you read the congressional record of 1854, January 1st, like I said, during the annexation of Texas, it says this was their plan, that they could not destroy or get rid of the Mauritanian races, the Moorish peoples and their Indian associates, because they are the original possessors of Mexico and all of the land that we call the United States. But we're going to have to either agree to either let them live, or one race is going to have to exterminate the other. This is what it say in the congressional records, Morris. They don't say nothing about no Indians. They don't say nothing about that. It talk about them trying to take the land from the people who actually had the international connections to treat. Because there wasn't no Indians. When you read about the Song Dynasty, and it talks about the trade that they had with the Moors, it said that the Moors brought them pumpkins and corn that was the size. They said that that the corn was the size of a small dog. And they said that the maize, they used the word maize, so that's corn. They said it was the size of a small dog. Then they said that they brought them pumpkins and stuff that was like incredibly huge, as well as oranges. So, as much as these Aboriginal, Autochthon, whatever, the Indian people that's on YouTube talking all this, have you ever heard them talk about Cherokees or anybody going internationally and bringing oranges and shit? No. The only people you hear doing that are the people that the Song Dynasty called Moors. And the only place that oranges was indigenous to at the time is
Spain.
So,
Valencia.
So, until you can show me a group of Africans with beards, which you won't, because most Africans can't or won't grow beards. You know what I'm saying? And when you do see them, they're closer to the western portion. The ones you see with the most beards be the Ethiopians, you see? And then the more the Western Africans. So that shows that there's a genetic connection between us and a certain type based upon the imperial bound. That based on the hardship and stuff that they've been through, I can see why I just gotta get this money. So let them do it. All I'm saying is that there is another way if we allow one to be. So it starts with self, man. So
it's peace. I don't know if my wife took it, but man, you already know we're gonna hit Aseer up the next time, and chop it up heavy, man. This was a heavy episode, man. See, I'd like to thank you for coming on Truth Talk Nation.
No problem, man. No problem. Anybody want to holler at those addresses I gave you, and definitely check out organics. Telling you to change your life, man. It's great stuff.
That's right, man. Support Aseer, Cordova Organics. Support this channel. You know what I'm saying? We support Aseer because I know you be dropping the history, and like I said, we'll chop it up next time. I'd like to thank you for once again coming on the channel.
Thank you, brother. Love and light to you.
Peace, more.
Peace.
Man, that was heavy, yo. He was dropping some. Like I said, I'm about to get out of here. I see you. I'm JUDAHAWOKEACE. This is Truth Talk Nation. Go to truthtalknews.com. Subscribe to the channel. Also, Cashapp, $ JUDAHAWOKEACE. So we can bring Aseer back on. Bring some of these heavyweights back on. Once again, I'm JUDAHAWOKEACE.